questions. Hi everyone, I'm Sharon van Olven. I'm a life and connected parenting coach, and today I have the pleasure to have an interview with Rina Lang. So welcome, Rina. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad to have you. So yeah, I would like to know, what was your first experience with coaching?
Getting coached or coaching someone?
In general, how was your first interaction with coaching? How did coaching come on your path?
So basically, I would say I've been coaching in some form or another for the last 20 years, maybe. I was always there, the sounding board for my friends and all that. And people told me back then there was no real word for coaching. It was more like maybe you can be a consultant for people's problems. And I became consultant, but more in the professional world. And it kind of stayed with me. Maybe I'm good at consulting people. And then later on, I think really the dots connected maybe just 6-7 months ago when I heard about the virtual coach program with Eben Pagan and Annie Lella, that I was really, I internalized, actually, it's not consulting that I'm doing, it's coaching that I'm doing. And there are rules to coaching. And maybe I could improve my coaching and learn something new. And so that's when I decided to join the program. And really, the very first session that I had, it was sometime back in November, which was the coaching gym session. And I got to coach officially someone.
Right.
I realized that I was good at it. And even if it was just a 10-minute laser session, I could actually achieve some sort of a result with that person, and people were grateful. And I was learning something new. One thing that I was learning was that people are actually incredibly intelligent, and consultant is usually the one who tells other people what to do. They hire you for your expertise. They want to hear what you have to say. But coaching is really, really different. It's actually helping other person discover their own intelligence and be the sounding board there for the other person to help them discover and commit to the next step so that they can progress. And you don't need to solve everything in one session. You just help them figure out one little step, and then they light up, and then they're able to go and do and get things done. And you get to celebrate with them as well at the same time. I fell in love with this process.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have the same. So yeah, it's already coming out of your words. Like, it's a very powerful experience, the coaching. If you would point it out, what is the most powerful? If you really can lay a finger on that, what's happening during a coaching session?
So often people come with an issue, and the key is not to get stuck on the issue with the client. We are not therapists. I always have this analogy, coaching is like being in the same air balloon basket with your client. And you're in that air balloon basket, and the client looks at the sandbags. These are my sandbags, and they want to share with you all the sandbags that they have. But then your role is to listen to hear them out, to listen to their sandbags, but maybe only spend 20% of your time there so that you hear where they're coming from. But then 80% of the time you're telling them, let's lift your head. Look at the air balloon above. This is your vision. This is where you're going. Forget the sandbags. Work through their issues. Maybe they need some mental, emotional support. Maybe you can guide them through whatever techniques you have at hand. Like in my case, I do releasing, which is an effective technique to help people to really connect with their feelings. Okay, what is the real issue here? Let's work through it. Let's release it. And once they've released it, you start telling them, okay, there is the air balloon. Let's look at the air balloon. What are the next steps? How do we get you closer to that? And we keep rising and rising, and we keep letting go of the sandbags. So that's really the beauty of the session, that even if people have discovery calls with me, which is just 45 minutes, I spend maybe 10-15 minutes tops on the challenge, because I want to get you right away into that space and spend 15-20 minutes with you resolving the issue. get you to experience what coaching can do for you, so that after 20 minutes they come out smiling and they come out like, okay, something has shifted, I see the effectiveness of this. And then we spend the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes debriefing and figuring out the next step. And maybe we can work together on your next steps. Maybe I can take you there better. Maybe I can be the one with you in that air balloon, helping you blow at that balloon and helping it rise faster.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that and seeing those shifts week to week with clients, I mean, it gives me greatest joy. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. It is. And I like how you describe that because it's very, very visual. If you would think about what is really like a personal touch or personal signature, I mean, you said already the visualizations, but is there anything else what is really like Rina in the coaching? What what makes it really, yeah, special from you?
Well, first off, I treat every session as if the person paid me $500 a session. It doesn't matter if it's a free call, if it's a paid call, I go all in. And it's about keeping your mind open. You never know what the client really will talk to you about.
Mm-hmm.
There are sessions where we're like, okay, let's work on your business. Excellent. We decide on the next steps. We work on business right now. And then they come back again. The next session is like, I just want to talk about my mother. And you have to be really, really flexible. And you cannot say, no, we need to work on your business. That is what we are trying to do in this package. If it's the mother that they're struggling right now, then you have to go that way. And you have to have some sort of a tool available and be comfortable with that maybe today is going to be a very emotional session as well. And I think my superpower is really the emotional, mental side of things. Yes, I have a business background. Yes, I have consulting background. Yes, I have an entrepreneurial background. Yes, I know all those things and I can help people because that's my niche. I can help people to really get their business off the ground. But at the same time, I do realize that the biggest challenges, the biggest problems that people experience, they are internal. It is the self-doubt, it is the family, it is the relationships. And that's why my coaching actually includes all the areas of life. And I tell this in the discovery call session right away, that I look at all these things because we need to align all those things. And so, because often clients don't really pay for that. If you try to sell to them, oh, I'm going to help you fall in love with yourself better and have more confidence, that is not the nail that they're really on and are willing to pay for.
Right.
They're willing to pay for, I've dreamt about my own business all my life, but it's just not happening for me. And why? So I tell them, yes, let us figure out your business. But ultimately, as we go, we look at all those sharks that are swimming in their system and that are eating up their energy, eating up their confidence, eating up their self-love. And so ultimately, that is really my superpower, is helping an emotional level take their life to the next stage. Because once they freed something up, whatever was blocking them emotionally, they come back and they report, oh, I've done this, I've done that, and this is how I progressed and whatnot. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to catch up. You're already 2 steps ahead than where I thought we will be in the session. Excellent.
Right. Yeah, it's connecting on all different areas in life. It's makes perfect sense. And so the benefits what people will get for you from your coaching are very, very wide too. I mean, they get extra benefits that they didn't even expected they would get. But on what especially do you work on?
So my niche is actually, I help professionals move out of their corporate careers into creative self-employment. So these are the people that have been stuck in the corporate world, but they always had this kind of like hobby or desire to actually capitalize on their gifts and skills. It's really to move into a profession or self-employment that utilizes their gifts and skills that they had in childhood. The mistake that, no, I wouldn't say it's not a mistake, but the decision that I made, for instance, when I was in my teen years is not to follow my creativity, but actually go and study and work in corporate world, study economic science, management, and all that, because I thought this is where we're gonna become rich, truth be told. And back then, it wasn't really that encouraged, to really figure out your skills and gifts and try to make money on that. Not like it is now. We are talking 20 years ago now, right? But now, like young kids, children, teenagers are encouraged. What is it that you love doing? Do that. And that's what they do. And the world has changed so much that there are so many opportunities. But back then, when I was facing my career choices, it was either I move into corporate or I become a starving artist. These were the two choices I had. And I don't regret it, because now, 20 years down the road, I have the corporate experience and I have that background that makes me really, really grounded. But at the same time, I am creative. And people that are coming to me now they are either artists themselves already, or they're in corporate profession, but they're afraid of letting go of the safety net. And so I tell them, okay, let's figure out, when do you want to leave your job? In 1 year, 3 months, 6 months, when? Okay, in 1 year. Let's start building up a side business. Let's first even figure out what are the golden nuggets that you're sitting on that we can start making money on. And then we figure out, okay, these are the 10 things that you could do and sell. These are the nails people would want to pay for. Okay, which are the things you enjoy the most and would actually want to pursue as a potential side business? So we figure that all out together. And once we figure that out, okay, then I teach them. Then I teach them about building up their confidence around facing clients, and how do you get clients, and how do you build up your mailing list, and how do you start promoting your services, and how you start building up your community, and so everything that is the business side of things, we start figuring out. But at the same time, of course, we're looking a lot at all the emotional and mental blockages that are there, so that once they're ready, they can actually leave their secure job, but there is actually already a functioning business where they're making enough money to not worry. Because that's the thing that I did, for instance, when I left my corporate job almost 4 years ago. I had my savings and I traveled the world for 1 year, and then I came back home with 6 euros on my bank account. And I was staying at my sister's place, and I knew that for the next 2 months, I have no expenses, I have nothing. But in 2 months, I have to have something, and it has to be functional, because then I'm on my own. And so I knew that I had a deadline of 2 months to figure it all out. And I figured it out in the end. After 2 months, I left my sister's place and I started my own business from then on. And there's so many things I learned on the way. But I had the advantage of actually having all that knowledge and knowing already very well what my gifts and skills were that I wanted to capitalize on. And I knew that I didn't have a family. I didn't have any mortgages or loans or all that. I made sure that before I left my corporate job, I paid all my debts off. I made sure I could fly. And then I moved to a cheaper country, because I was making 500 euros a month. I moved to a cheaper country where I can live on 500 euros. Next month, I made 1,000 euros. And next month, I made more. And it never stopped.
Yeah, it's beautiful, because you can bring that in your coaching, and you can really use that as a great example that it's possible, that anything is possible. That's really beautiful. Last question, I would like to ask you how you see that coaching can bring in these new times, like all these crazy times we're in now. How can coaching give a positive influence on exactly that?
I wished I had started getting coaches 10, 20 years ago. My life would have been much, much different. I think it's the most beautiful thing that happened to me in the last decade. And really being coached, and I get coached a few times a week. I make sure I reach out to other coaches to get to know coaches, so that I get coached through my blogs, because I also have a lot of things that I procrastinate on or have not quite figured out yet. And just by talking to another person, it gives me so much clarity. I've never had a coaching session where I didn't walk out with a golden nugget or with some sort of an insight that helped me figure out the next step or the next 5 steps. And I think it accelerated not only my life, it accelerated my career. And my vision personally for coaching is that I would like to have a coach in every family.
Yeah, it would be
And
amazing.
this is our vision for the coaching community, to really put a coach in every family and coach children, coach young adult, coach any age. It doesn't matter what age the person has. Everybody could use a coach, because as we often hear from other coaches who've been around for a long time, they say many people, they don't really have anybody in their life who really sees them and who really listens to them and who really has the best interest at hand and who really is believing in their bigger version of themselves and greater vision of themselves and is willing to keep guiding you in that direction. We have so many people that tell us how bad we are, how not enough, good enough we are, how we will not succeed. We have all that, and we have had all that all our lives. And this is something really, really, really new to me. And even though I was advising everybody for a long time, but I wasn't really seeking advice and seeking sounding boards myself in my life. And just by adding that component into my life, the progress, the acceleration, it is mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. And so I think the world would be really a much, much better place if much more people were there to not only support us, but actually help us to take our life to that next level and figure out what that next level is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful vision, and I can totally, yeah, I feel totally aligned with that. So thank you so much for this interview. It's really lovely speaking with you.
I
And
really
yeah,
enjoyed it.
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.